everyone, my name is Bianca Soriano, and today I'm going to be talking about a time in my life when I finally conquered my fear of speaking in public. The story begins when I was still a little girl. I was born and raised in the Philippines, and I went to a very intensive and academically demanding private school. I competed a lot in spelling bees and academic leagues, but that changed when I moved here in the US because everything else was just completely different than what I already knew. I was in 6th grade at the time, and it was very, very challenging for me. I had always been very confident and very outspoken, and I was very much a talkative person, especially in class. I always participated, but this was a completely different atmosphere for me. It was a very big change for me, and not only was the school system completely different, there were also some language barriers that I had a little bit of a struggle with. It affected a lot of my self-confidence, and I became a lot more self-conscious, especially in the way I spoke, which led me to start becoming a little bit more quiet, and I always would sit in the back and I never participated anymore, which was far from anything that I was like back then. I was shy, and I still excelled in academics. I just was too afraid to speak out in public. As the years went on and I went into high school, I decided that I should probably switch that up and start building myself up again, because not only will it be good for scholarships and my academic record to be very active in school, but also it will just be good for me to start practicing and developing those skills back up again. I knew that I still had that competitive fire in me, and I wanted to be able to showcase that aspect of my personality. So my junior year, I took a leap of faith and I joined some business clubs. I joined FBLA and DECA and started to compete again. This was very different for me. I was scared, to say the least. The last time I competed had been years before, and I was still in elementary school, and honestly I knew that competitions here would be a lot different in the Philippines, and I was right. They are a lot bigger here and a lot more intimidating, and I honestly had no idea what I was doing, and I had no idea what it was going to be like. I was too afraid to ask and embarrassed almost to ask other members to give me an insight of what I should do and what I shouldn't do and what it was going to be like. So I decided to tackle it on my own and try to figure things out by myself, which didn't necessarily work in my favor. I had trouble speaking in front of the judges and trying to articulate my words properly and professionally. So my nerves took over and I stuttered and panicked, and my first competition went completely horrible. It was horrible. Like I can't find another word to describe it, because it was just a mess. Like I had no idea what I was doing. Honestly, I was pretty discouraged and disappointed in myself, because I knew that I was still good at competing, and I have this talent of presenting and sharing my ideas, especially in the business aspect at the time. And I was thinking to myself, like, what went wrong, and why wasn't I able to present myself like I usually would be able to, or how I was able to when I was younger. And honestly, I thought that maybe this was a bad idea and I shouldn't have done it. But instead of giving up after my first horrible experience, I decided to sign myself up for actually the rest of the competitions for the year. I was very determined to get it right, and I decided that before my second competition, I would actually go to my advisor and my peers and ask for help. This probably was what changed my mindset and everything that I was doing in the competitions. I decided to open myself up and ask questions and just speak up, speak my mind, and not be too worried about the words that are coming out of my mind, if they sounded fancy or not. I just wanted to get my message out there and ask them what I should do to improve myself. And by doing that, not only did I know more about the do's and don'ts of the competitions and the effective ways of presenting and brainstorming, I also started becoming more comfortable talking to other people and talking in public and asking for help and not being shy about speaking out. And honestly, that changed everything. After I did that, my second competition went completely the opposite route of the first competition. I was able to speak up a lot more confidently, and I actually placed first in my second ever competition. Instead of giving up and letting my fear and feelings of anxiety take over and let me miss out on opportunities that are good for me and that would help me be better at speaking publicly or speaking to other people in general, I persevered and tried my best to fight my self-doubt, and I ended up competing in all of the competitions for the rest of my high school career. I actually became DECA vice president, and I was in charge of recruitment, which if anyone has ever done recruitment, it has a lot to do with talking to people and convincing them. And I also trained new members on how to compete. Ultimately, I became the Northern Region champion for 2 different events and placed in state. So me overcoming my fear gave me a lot of opportunities and helped me be where I am today. It gave me a scholarship to go to college, and I am really happy that I persevered and that I overcome my fear of speaking in public and in front of an audience. So hopefully you guys are encouraged to do so and try things out of your comfort zone like I did. And yeah, you guys have a great day. Thanks for listening.